All right, moving on. Now we're going to look at inequalities, so multi-step inequalities that have special solutions, okay? So most of these will most likely have special solutions. So here we go. I've got 3 parentheses 6y plus 8 is greater than 18y plus 23. So I'm going to start similar to solving a multi-step equation. I'm going to split it at the symbol. And my first step is to check that both sides are simplified. So looking at the left side, I have parentheses, so I can simplify that. I'm going to go ahead and distribute because I have 3 mushed against the parentheses. So I'm doing 3 multiplied with 6y, which is 18y, and 3 multiplied with 8, which is 24. Okay, I'm going to bring the symbol down. Okay, so now this left side is fully simplified. There's no other like terms to put together, right? 18y and 24, they're not like terms. That's all simplified. And looking at the right side, this is also fully simplified too. But now looking at the entire inequality, I do see that I have variables on both sides, right? I have 18y and I have 18y. So I cannot have variables on both sides if I'm trying to solve, if I'm trying to get with one variable alone. So I have to get rid of one of the variables by adding or subtracting. So let's see, I'm going to get rid of this 18y on the right. So I'm going to get rid of it by subtracting 18y. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other side of this line. But if I'm subtracting 18y, I can only subtract from its like term. So I can only subtract from the other y. So I have to subtract 18y from 18y. And what ends up happening here is 18y minus 18y, this goes to 0. So this, putting an invisible 0 there, putting an invisible 0 there, and I actually end up with my variables canceling out. So the variables went away, they both went to 0, and I'm going to look at what I have left because this is a special solution. It's not a regular solution, okay? So here, what I have left is I brought down the 24 and I brought down the remaining 23, and I have 24 is greater than 23. Now I'm just going to think, is that true? Is that a true statement? Is 24 greater than 23? Yes, it is. And because it's true, I'm going to say my answer is infinitely many solutions. Or you can also say all real numbers, right? If I had a false statement like 24 is less than 23, then that would have been a situation where it's no solution. But this is all real numbers. Going on to the next one. Sorry. All right, so splitting this at the symbol. So the right side is definitely simplified, but the left side is not simplified. So here I do see parentheses, so that's my first step in simplifying an algebraic expression. I'm going to get rid of the parentheses by distributing. And when we distribute, I'm taking this 4 that's mushed up against the parentheses, and I'm multiplying. I'm doing 4 times 5 and 4 times negative 1w, which is negative 4w. And I bring down this 4w. All right. Now, I'm still not done simplifying on the left side because I do have like terms. I've got this w and I've got a w. Those are like terms. They have the same variable. So I'm going to combine them. Just simplifying here. So I'm just doing negative 4 plus 4. Well, negative 4 and 4, that goes to 0. So that actually is going away. You could say that's 20 plus 0. You could say it's 20 plus 0w, but 0 times anything is just 0. So if I had 0w, that would just still be 0. And so what actually happened is that our variable went away. So we have a special solution. So I'm just going to look at what I have left. I have 20 on the left is less than or equal to 20. Now I'm going to think, is this true? Well, 20 is not less than 20, but the symbol is or equal to, right? So it could be less than or it could be equal to. So since 20 is equal to 20, this is a true statement, right? So this one is also going to be all real numbers or infinitely many. Okay, let's do number 5, which has 2 more problems. All right, okay, so same process, splitting it at the symbol. I'm going to simplify the left. I see parentheses, so I'm going to distribute. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times negative 1v is negative 4v plus 4v. Okay. I'm still not done simplifying on the left because I have like terms, so I'm going to combine them. And what happens is they go to 0 as well. They both go to 0. Negative 4 plus 4 goes to 0. And what I'm left with is 28 is less than or equal to 30. And that is true. So this will be all real numbers. Next one. So I'm putting it at the symbol. I'm going to simplify the left side by first getting rid of this parentheses that I see by distributing. I'm doing negative 2 times x, which is negative 2x, and negative 2 times 6, which is negative 12. And bringing down this 28. I'm still not done simplifying on the left. So I have like terms here. So I'm going to put together negative 12 and 28. So that's different signs. Subtract, right? So I'm doing negative 12 plus 28 is positive 16. Okay. So this left side is simplified. Let me check the right side. The right side has parentheses, so I have to distribute. So 4 times 3 is 12. And 4 times negative 1x is negative 4x. Okay, and now the other thing I could do to simplify would be to combine like terms, but 12 and negative 4x, they're not like terms. So I'm all done simplifying. Looking at this whole equation though, I've got variables on both sides. So I have to get rid of one of the variables. Let's see, I'm going to get rid of the negative 2x by adding 2x. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other. But I remember I can only add or subtract. I can only add 2x to its like term. So I have to add the 2x to the negative 4x. Okay. So negative 2x plus 2 goes to 0, and negative 4x plus 2x goes to negative 2x. All right. And now this is just a two-step equation. I'm just trying to get this x alone. I'm going to start by subtracting 12 because 12 is positive, so I'm going to subtract 12, right? Its sign is to the left. And I'm going to bring down the negative 2x. And my last step is to get rid of this multiplication of negative 2, right? I know it's multiplication because negative 2 is mushed up against x. So I'm going to divide negative 2 on both sides. Now remember, with inequalities, the one thing we really need to remember is that if we ever multiply by a negative on both sides or divide by a negative on both sides, the symbol is going to reverse, okay? So it was greater than, I changed it to less than on the right. negative 2x divided by negative 2 is 1x, or just x. I can make that 1 invisible. And 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2 on the left. So that's my answer, okay? If I wanted to write it like this, where x is first, I need to make sure that x is still the bigger value. So this is the same as x being greater than negative 2. Okay. So that is good.